that suit.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, tears of joy.
You know, this is actually one of the first times we started on these, and you didn't just instantly start laughing the moment you hit the record button.
Well, it's because like this one actually hit, like this episode impacted me more than the rest of the show has.
That's what it was all leading into, though.
It was all leading into.
You can't hold it against the other episodes.
No, you can't hold it against. But then they're like, Captain America 4 is on the way. So I was like, all right, we're here, and seeing Sam in the suit really just. I told you, I was like, I like as a person of color, then finally seeing it in live action, I was like, oh my god. And I made a post about it. I was like, he's not the black Captain America, because I hate when they do that in comic articles when they're like, the black Batman or the black. I'm like, so when it comes to white characters, you're always like the new Superman,
if they made a Black Panther who was white, it would be the white Black Panther. Now, granted, that is a terrible idea. I would sooner than make the Ginger Jaguar, but still, it is
the White Panther.
The White. Well, there's already been a White Panther.
Yeah, but those are things in articles I don't like, because it's definitely like clickbaity when you're like the new black Batman. I'm like, you couldn't just say new Batman. You had to emphasize, But
unfortunately, it's the society we live in. Yeah. People want to emphasize things like
that.
But
I made a statement. He's not the black Captain America. He is Captain America. And when Buck gave him the kind of basically like, yeah, Cap. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, and
I still care less about what's her face. Like when she died, I was like, and Power Broker's reveal was a little like. On the nose.
Yeah, Power Broker was weirder just because, like, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be her. And it's like, I'm kind of hoping not because it's so obvious. And then it was. And I was like, oh, whatever.
Well, I like the fact, that's why I like the mid-credit scene so much. When she's like, oh, thank you, thank you, I got full party. And they're like, get your old job back. You get this and this and this and this. And then she's like, yeah. And right when she's walking out, that face just goes. That little weird slow-mo thing, we're like, she's evil. And then she calls her like, hey, we got government stuff we're going to get into now. Call the highest bidders. I was like, oh, man. So I wonder, is that leading into 4?
With Sharon, with Agent 13 being the main villain?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think, with everything that happened with Zemo, like, Zemo might even escape, too, and it might be the both of them versus...
Ooh, the Zemo, little Zemo in the cell. He's just like...
It took me a second to realize who the person that blew everything up was, because I didn't rewatch all the episodes before, so I kind of forgot about Zemo's butler. I was like...
It took me a second, too. I was like, who's this dude?
Yeah, who's this random dude?
Yeah, and then when it went to Zemo, I was like, oh, his butt. Mm-hmm. All right. But Captain America's speech... Mm-hmm. I think that was very impactful.
Well, it's. I think the cool thing about it is it's not like he's necessarily taking sides. He's making us question why there are sides.
And I like what he said, because it really hits home when he goes, I know everyone's looking at me. Everyone's probably mad I'm even wearing this suit. Mad I'm holding this shield. And in that combo, in the Sam Wilson Captain America series, that's what he had to deal with. And like every turn was like, well, he ain't our captain because he's black. And that was the narrative of, like, everything he was doing, and that's the people who saw him flying, like, hey, Captain America, not my captain. And it was that choosing, and he can hear that, He's just like, I'm trying to be the best version of myself and believing in this shield. Mm-hmm. And that's why I can't wait to see when the 4th movie, Captain America 4, I can't wait to see where we're going to go with that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's cool. I really, not that the Captain America movies have ever had numerical titles to them, but, well, except for the one that says first. But I'm really glad that they're not, like, caveating it or something like that. Yeah. That it is a Captain America movie because he's Captain America. Like, yeah. There's no, one, there's no going back now. Two, there's no reason to go back.
Well, the sad thing in, the comic book series, he does go back to being the Falcon.
Yeah, but that's in a timeline where people get young again and old again and all this stuff.
Well, that's what happened, and Cap got back to Super Soldier Serum, and after being brainwashed from joining Hydra's side, and he was Hydra Captain and all that. It's a whole thing. You should go read comic books, kids.
Yeah. Although you shouldn't be watching this if you're a kid. This specifically.
Oh, I was like, the show. I was like, well, it's on Disney Plus. So
okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's for kids if it's on Disney Plus.
Well, but what would it make it not for kids? Like, what would you say?
Well, the swearing. I mean, that'd be the closest thing. I think, there's a lot of kids shows now that deal with things like prejudice, social justice.
Oh, yeah, my daughter was watching one of those. I was like, oh, that's okay, sure.
But it's just one of those things. I think it's the idea of introducing these ideas to people at a younger age, make it less of a weird thing. And I know this is naive and hopeful for me, but I'm the kind of person that's hoping there comes a time where it's not a weird thing to think about things like, social justice and, the LGBTQ community and stuff like that.
Well, what's nice too is like with Sam being Captain America and people who don't even read the comic books. And I've already seen some arrogant comments of like, oh my God, they're just forcing it down our throat. I'm like, but
I felt that way about Riri. That's pretty much been the key one that I've ever felt like it really feels like they're really trying to push this too hard. Where with like Miles, I've never complained about anything with that. Like
Ironheart. Okay,
Riri.
Okay, yeah, Riri Williams.
Like she's the only one.
She came out of nowhere.
She's the only one that I ever felt like this seems like you're trying to do it just for the sake of doing it, not for any. Because with Miles' story just. Such a great and well-crafted story.
Yeah, because when he became Spider-Man, it was right after when that Spider-Man and that Ultimate died and stuff like that. So his story is much more like it fits into the because I remember when Riri Williams came out of nowhere. Well, there's a smart kid. She's just as smart as Tony Stark and blah 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 blah. And Tony had his eyes on her, which sounds weird.
Especially when you word it that way. But yeah,
yeah. But Big Daddy, he hates the fact that she has like. When they introduced her, they're like, look, she's going to be Ironheart and keeping the Iron Man legacy going. And he goes, why'd you have to go and give her a big old fro? Like, that was his biggest beef because, with him being black, he goes, I get it. Introduce her. You don't need to be like, look, she's got an afro. So, look, she's everything you want it to be. And he was just like, but if you just, I don't know. I read some of her stuff. It's okay. It's not like you can't take a character that's like not well crafted initially and not fix it. It's just that with her, she was the one when they were being a lot more inclusive on a lot of stuff they were doing. And I'm like, that's really cool that they're being this. And then Riri came out and I'm like, okay, now it feels like it's I have no problem with progression. Well, it's like Miss Marvel, Kamala.
Kamala Khan's awesome.
Yeah, and how they introduced her, like it fit the narrative, like how.
And now she has her own video game.
Well, it's just like just to give a little history of folks with Sam becoming Captain America. The reason why he becomes Captain America is because Steve loses the super soldier. God, what?
You were saying it right.
The super soldier serum. I don't know why I thought my words got mixed up.
No, you were saying it totally right.
Super soldier serum was taken out of him, and he progressively went old. So he became Agent Steve Rogers for S.H.I.E.L.D., and was like passing the mantle on to Sam to take on this role. Sam was a bit hesitant because he was like, "Come on, man, I'm black and like whether they're not going to accept a black Captain America." But Steve, being Steve, was like, "No, there's a reason why I'm choosing you to carry on the mantle." But
was Bucky dead at this point in time? By the way, is this one of the times where Bucky had died again?
No. But in this story, while Sam's trying to be the new Captain America, trying to, do his own thing and make his own suit and this and that, during this time, they have this thing called Standoff, and it's this prison that was built to keep villains in, and they're all brainwashed. And during this time, Red Skull, I forgot what was her name that was running this prison, like brainwashing everybody. But she got the Steve. And with Steve not having super soldier serum, superpowers, or anything of that nature, like inverted his mind and erased all his history and made him thought he was raised in Hydra. And so and that's where the big famous, when he does become Captain America again, when he goes, Hell Hydra, and everybody lost their shit. Because Steve was Steve again, and he had the super soldier serum. Super soldier serum. And I remember people were death threats to the writer. Like, how dare you?
And it was a lot of outrage because of the original creators of Captain America were, Jewish, and Hydra being extremely tied to the Nazi Germany stuff, it seemed very insulting to them. But at the same time, you're kind of like, it wasn't like they did it just for the sake of doing it. They
No,
did
it was
for
part
a
of the story. And what's funny, though, is when they did that first issue and all the backlash and all the death threats, complaints, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. The second issue, they had to explain why he did it. They're like, and I was like, oh, man, you could have just held on to it, because that second issue in that series, like, it tells all of why he's like that. I'm like, you could have waited on the sixth issue to reveal all this, which it felt like a sixth issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, they're like, okay, we gotta calm the fires. Slap number 2 on this one, put it out there, then we'll continue from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then Sam's just like, I can't be Captain America no more, and then becomes the Falcon, and they cancel that series after 3 issues.
I mean, we're real off topic at this point in time.
Open the store.
I feel like it's you is the reason here. I'm gonna unprofessionally, so you can edit this out later.
Yeah.
Just give us some airflow without the sun flying into our faces.
Yeah. But Sam in the suit, awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, I thought it was one of those, when he opened the box the last time, I was just like, I'm really hoping it's the suit, like the suit, the one that, and it wasn't exactly that one, obviously. There were some different touches to it, but I was like, no, that's good. That's what I want that to be from now on.
The memes, the ones you sent me, when he looks in the box.
The best one, I swear the best one's the Bucky one. The one where it's just like, hey, I'm gonna be wasn't maybe your brother-in-law soon?
Yeah.
From Bucky. You're just like, jeez.
Oh man, but I give this a solid 10 just for the suit.
Just for the suit.
Just for the suit.
The rest of the story, whatever.
Whatever to the rest of the story. Because what's your face? She was getting so annoying.
She was just getting progressively evil, and I think it has, as far as you disliking her, I think that her character at least progressed. It started out as sort of a naive kind of...
She still felt naive to me. I feel like she didn't... Especially towards the end when she's like, fight me! Fight me!
It's because she wants him to push back to what she's doing, because that's kind of how she's fallen into it. Like, that's the antithesis of when you feel like you're strong and radical, and there's a symbol, you want that symbol that you're trying to oppose to fight back, and Sam didn't want to fight back. That was a key thing with Sam not fighting back, was irritating her, because...
I know, but it was just annoying, because I was like, you're just a kid, just wanting that attention.
I have no idea how old her character is supposed to be in this, and I know that the actress who plays her is of at least a decent age, but she just, the entire time, I'm like, why is there this 14-year-old leading this group?
Well, then me and the wife, when we watched, because we were having our and when she's with her homies, and they're like, well, we'll just kill the hostages, and they're like, but we're gonna die for the cause, and I was just thinking, I was like, I didn't sign up to die for no cause. I signed up to
when she was like, one world, and they weren't responding. She's like, one world, and I was just like, is this going to be the point where like they say they don't want to do it, and she ends up killing them? And then they're just like, yeah, whatever, one world, people.
I still get my check, right? Like,
yeah. That check that we don't get. I mean, Tony Stark paid his people just as much as you're paying us. What makes you better?
I got benefits.
Yeah. But I give it a 9. I mean, I think it was still really good. It's just not just for the suit. Like, the whole thing with Sharon Carter being the power broker, I thought that was still pretty stupid. U.S. Agent, I'll be honest, the lighting at the end, I know we're skipping the entire thing with him actually doing the right thing, but the lighting at the end of that, like, this, my biggest complaint about the show is the lighting right now.
As much as Solo?
No, not as much as Solo. but the thing in Solo, you couldn't see anything. The thing in this one is you can't tell what color things are.
Yeah, he had to say it's black, and I was like, oh, it is black.
Yeah, it's like he comes out, and I'm just like, it's the same suit, except for, like, you took the A off the place. Cool, and it's just
black, and they made it redder up here.
Red and whites, yeah.
And I was just like, then they're like, and she's like, U.S. Agent. And I was like, oh, yeah, man.
See, it's funny because people were complaining about that, dude. They're like, that's such a stupid thing. Like, that's what he is. Like,
I know, I had to explain that to somebody at work because they're like, U.S. Agent? That's so corny. I'm like, that's an actual character.
Let's be honest, Captain America. If you really think about it outside the context of comic books, that's really stupid.
Yeah.
So,
Superman.
Batman. Wonder Woman. Yeah, if you really think about these names too much, yes, they sound stupid, but they're supposed to symbolize something.
Captain Marvel. Shazam. Well, they never call him Shazam.
Well, not anymore.
Well, not anymore.
Wait, no. Now they do. Because they used to call him Captain Marvel. Now they have to
No,
call
that's
him
what I mean.
Shazam.
I was thinking of the movies just for people who are mainstream sake.
Oh. If you're just mainstream the movies.
Like Iron Man. Come on.
Although technically in the movies he didn't make that name up. They made the name up for him, and he points out right away, well, it's technically inaccurate.
Yeah, the suit's not made of
Yeah.
But yeah, so solid 10 for me just because I've been waiting to see Sam as Captain America in the living flesh.
There's no, in my scaling, there's no one single moment that makes an entire thing go to a 10. Like, even in Endgame, there were so many moments in that occurred. We finally got the Avengers assembled. Captain America using the hammer. Like, the scene at the end with Bucky giving... I keep saying Bucky. Bucky and Steve having that goodbye.
You kept correcting yourself, too, on the text.
But, like, Bucky and Steve having their goodbye, and then Steve giving Sam the shield. Like, there's a bunch of different moments in that made it an amazing movie. Where this one, yes, it had some good moments, and I really liked how it was more about... It wasn't about fighting, it was about figuring out what the right course of action is. Or even not knowing and understanding that you don't know. And I think there was a really good message in it. It's just... I mean 9 still. It's still good.
It's just a 10 just because like the comic book hardcore nerd in me was like, oh yeah. Then U.S. Agent, I was just like, you know what? As much as he was annoying, and then when he came out in that suit, and then when we got the actual good lighting on it, I was like, okay. I like to see where this is going.
Well, that might be part of Captain America 4 too.
Maybe. Well, the thing is too is like that would be such an iconic pose. You remember the what was it? Issue... was it 150? Captain America 90s, where's Captain and U.S. Agent, they're like coming at each other, and that's when they drew Captain all bulky, and he was all bulky and stuff like that.
I don't think that if U.S. Agent comes back, he's going to necessarily be fighting against Captain America.
I hope he gets bulkier, though.
Yeah.
They dropped they dropped a series, a U.S. Agent series for the show, which they do with like every time a movie comes out, they're like, let's pluck a random character, like Black Widow movie. Before the pandemic took that movie away, they dropped Taskmaster series. I'm like, okay, I understand you got to sell this movie. You don't need a Taskmaster series. You don't need a U.S. Agent series.
I don't know. I mean, and there's another. I think one of the two coolest parts of the episode that were not costume related was the part where when Captain America's taking on and he's getting shot at the helicopter, he's like, oh, you're deserving this whooping.
And just like whooping, and he's like
flies through and just takes the guy out, and then the woman just hops up to the front and is able to control it, and you're like, that's so cool. And I'm glad he has 2 red wings now.
Yeah,
the 2 little red wings. And then
there's some great action. Like there's just some great sequences in
that same scene though, like prior to that, when he pulls the 2 dudes out of the helicopter, falls, lands, and then the helicopter falls and his wings, he just does the shield wing.
Oh man, the combinations with the wing and the shield, I was just like
it took on a helicopter.
And he's a mortal man, so he doesn't need the serum. But yeah, I give it a 10. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy the series? Did you nerd out as much as I did with the suit? Because the suit looked great. I'm dying.
You're sweating so much.
I'm sweating. Like this sun is like right here.
If you look at this, I've got it right across my face too.
I'm like,
but you're like beating sweat.
I am beating sweat because there's other things I got to tell you. Huh. All right, like and subscribe. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa. Share it with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB The Sexy Ninja.
And I'm Pop. I'm just kidding. I'm Doug.